My husband said women in media make a fuss about SA, and that I know you wouldn't ever do that. I'm using a throwaway because my husband and I share the same main. Husband, 34M, and I, 24F, have been married for 2 years. Yesterday, I was watching the news about a woman in my country who recently passed away. She was sexually assaulted before being murdered. The lady's family was grieving and being interviewed. In the news, they were crying and saying they wanted justice so that their daughter could rest in peace, as the perpetrators haven't been caught yet. My husband was beside me as we watched the news. Out of nowhere, he turned to me and said, "All these women make a fuss about SA and *P. I know you wouldn't ever do that." It's hard to write it down here, but I haven't been more shocked in my life. I immediately went into defense mode over what he just said and asked him WTF. He said it's not a big deal if something sad happens to someone, because everyone goes through rough stuff. If everyone were to make fuss about every violent thing that happens, then at some point, it's nothing original. He brought up the lady's family in the news, saying they were looking for attention. If they wanted justice, they go to the court and not to the media. It's always the woman speaking up, and I wouldn't ever find a man making the same fuss. I'm a little paraphrasing, but I hope you understand. I honestly couldn't even bring myself to say anything, because everything that man was spewing was absurd. I argued with him for the next 2 hours. I asked him if I ever go through the same thing, would he not speak up for me, media or not, and his response basically was, "But that wouldn't happen, and even if it hypothetically did, I won't be all dramatic about it since you would be resting in peace, and that's more than enough WTF. I still cannot process the fact that I married this man. Granted, it's arranged, and I had no choice at one point, but I had genuinely liked him over the course of our marriage. He's never done or said anything problematic, but this is killing me." I impulsively brought up divorce, but he finds it absurd. So do I, because it's such a foreign word to me and it's seen as a taboo at my place. He said I'm overly sensitive, because I'm a woman who is relating to that poor woman, and that this is just his opinion, which I'm unable to accept, so let's agree to disagree then cause a break in our relationship. Wipta, if I divorce him over this? I need some advice, if possible. I don't have a proper support system. I mentioned it to my friend today. We're not really close, but we work together. She said men say mindless things sometimes, so maybe he didn't mean it. But I don't think this is a thing to say mindlessly at all.